It's now time for Party Chat Sports.
The only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
Welcome back, everybody, to Party Chat Sports. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everybody. I cannot say it's been a jolly weekend for us. We're going to dive right into Week 15 of the NFL season, where all four of us are losers. We are going to start off with a big winner, though. A huge game for, actually, Cade and his Vegas Raiders getting it was a blowout. What was it, 63 something?
A lot to a little.
And it was a blowout quick. Like, it took that fast. I think after the first quarter, everybody's like, is Staley even going to be allowed back in the locker room at halftime? That's the kind of game it was. And we finally got the resolution. Our Christmas wishes have been answered. Santa's been reading our lists. He granted Justin Herbert a new head coach for next year because Brandon Staley was fired after the game, along with Tom Telesco, the general manager. Along with the big win for the Raiders, that seems to be the biggest takeaway, is that Brandon Staley has been fired. This has been a year at least in the making, and the Chargers finally did the right thing. They did something they don't ever do, and that's fire coaches in season. They realized after you just no-show. Staley even said it himself a week prior that as long as his players are playing hard and going out there and competing, he thinks his message is getting across. And then a week later, the players were...
Well, I think he said as long as they don't get blown out, that his message is getting across, and then
that's what it was.
They immediately get blown out. Yeah.
Yep.
So
and he got fired.
hilarious.
He got let go. So that was huge. Justin Herbert's finally going to get a new head coach, and Merry Christmas to him. Actually, yes, everybody.
Staley.
Good for the Chargers. You're moving in the right direction.
Staley.
You blew a 27-0 lead in the playoffs. You'll always be remembered.
Hold on. Round of applause
Thanks for wasting Herbert.
Yeah.
Really proud of you for that.
I don't. Are you playing a sound effects? I don't hear it.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah.
Come on. Where's it at? Where's it at? Oh,
Take it a
man.
minute. All right. It's almost there.
All right. Awkward.
Okay.
It's nervous. It's fine. It didn't want to perform. It's fine. Also, shout out to Grogu for being there. Did want to mention that.
Thanks, Grogu.
Grogu's stepping in for me today.
So brace your ears for a random celebration.
There's going to be like 4 of them back to back because you click the button over and over again.
All right.
Yeah, good for the Raiders, though, and Aiden O'Connell just tossing a bunch of tutties. And, Chargers stink. Staley stinks. The GM stinks. Probably the worst head coach GM combo in the league currently. Well, not in the league currently because they're gone now. So long time coming. We can all pat ourselves on the back at Party Chat Sports for that one because we've been calling for it for weeks. And hopefully Jay Herbo moves on to bigger and better things and doesn't waste his career a la Phillip Rivers did. We'll see.
That's the big concern is he just going to be Phillip Rivers 2.0 in the matter that, they wasted his career. He could have had a lot more. I mean, they had the number one offense and the number one defense, 2010, and didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's crazy.
How do you do that? But,
Special
again,
teams.
Aiden O'Connell, heading into this game, there was a lot of question marks on if he was going to be benched, if he was going to be starting this week. And then he put they were up 42-0 at halftime.
Doing crazy. Good for Cade. Cade needed this one.
Congrats, Cade.
Definitely the biggest point differential between a team's two back-to-back games.
Yeah, you go from scoring 0 points in a 3-0 shutout loss to putting up
Yeah.
63. That's crazy.
That's got to be a stat.
Quite
That's
impressive.
got to be a stat for sure.
Going from 0 to 63. That's wild.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
Kind of shows that they must have been playing a good defense.
Speaking
don't
of
think they were.
which, speaking of
Sure.
that team that they did lose to,
Also
Vikings
lost.
also lost this week. They lost this week. A lot of crap talking. After a 3-0 win, we were patting ourselves on the back there, Grogu. 3-0 win, and then
What do you mean?
Jake
We lost in
Browning
OT.
takes it-
Okay, no, enough of you. Enough of
takes
you. We
it to the
lost
back of
by
the woodshed.
3 in OT, and they needed to
Jake
moss.
Browning.
It doesn't matter. It was a very well played game for the Vikings. It's unfortunate we had a couple turnovers, and our
Bro, Nick
corners
Mullins threw it straight
mossed.
at that D tackle, bro. He said,
and he
"Have the
also
ball."
had 300 passing yards with a couple tutties. So I'm okay with how he played. You cut out the turnovers. You're winning that game.
Easy.
If you're not getting mossed, you're easily winning that game. They came out and played very well for a Saturday at 1 o'clock against the Bengals, and they're all black unis. It's kind of unfair, but it was enjoyable to see.
What? What?
It was enjoyable to see Tyson Chandler, get the workload for the day.
He was going crazy. I'll give it to him.
He was
going crazy.
he proved what a lot of Vikings fans wanted to see. They are like me, and they would not like to see Madison anymore. He's a good number 2. He's not a number 1. He's a good number 2.
Whoa! Heading into this year, I thought Madison was the guy.
He was.
He was the
I
guy.
thought you were telling us all year that
I have not been
He's
telling you that
some
all
other
year.
guy was the guy, and then he got cut.
heading into the offseason.
Yeah.
I thought, or throughout the offseason.
Oh yeah,
What was that
yeah,
guy's
Dwayne
name?
McBride. No, they brought him back. He's on the practice squad.
Oh, good.
Where's he
All
at?
right, I cut you off. My bad. Keep going.
Yeah, so Tyson Chandler was nice to see. Gives you a little bit of hope for the running back position because he looked very natural, very fluent, was very decisive, versus speeds and fighting for extra yards, which I didn't get to see a lot with Dalvin because he kind of just fell when he got hit
Fungible.
or fumbled. Tyson
Fungible.
Chandler did not have a fumble that game, so that's a good stat.
What was the
stat
lead that was blown? Was it 17-3
It was
the
17.
lead?
It was
that
17 to
Brian
3.
Flores' defense blew. Yeah, Mr. Brian.
Yes,
so.
it's very unfortunate. Bengals players
touchdowns
made
in
some
the quarter.
incredible plays. They made incredible plays. I will give them that.
Think
They
about
got
this. If Nick
out
Mullins,
athleticized. I'm
if
going to
Nick
keep
Mullins,
talking. Out athleticized at unfortunate times, and Bengals made the plays that the Vikings didn't. Jordan Addison looked really, really good. He is thriving in the number 1 spot, and JJ took the number 2 role that game. JJ looked very healthy. Is what we like to see. Didn't take a lot of big hits, but I do grimace every time I see him get hit. Unfortunate loss for 7-7 onto the Lions. We'll see what happens. At home, they haven't beat us since 2019, so we'll see what happens. Now you guys can comment.
I was just going to say, if Nick Mullins doesn't throw that pass straight to the D tackle, they kick that field goal, and then they probably win the game because they were in field goal range. It was brink field goal range, but
I think he misses that.
Close.
I didn't trust him. That's why they went for the QB sneak twice in a row with a literal baby at quarterback. So
yeah, he got smoked on that. I don't know why you don't just give it to your running back that's been going crazy all game. But
especially because Bradbury is the smaller side of centers and gets bullied by anybody that is bigger than him.
he got actually manhandled on that second one.
He's not good.
He was thrown into Nick Mullins' legs.
He is
So-
agile without the. He's Jason Kelsey without the toughness and the strength. He gets
So he's
down
a
the
different
field.
person.
He's a agile blocker, I would say.
He's only Jason Kelsey side.
I needed you to beat the Bengals so bad, man. Come on.
This
I
is your
needed it
fault.
so bad.
Notice how you rooted for all of our teams and they lost because you had to make it public. You couldn't have just kept it in your head. And you know, maybe if you do keep it in your head, we all win, and you do get the help that you need. But you decided to
I
root
never
for
win.
us.
I never win.
Amen to
You
that.
decided to root for us. You know, I'm sick and tired of it. I might start meeting you guys on Sundays because I don't want to see every time you root for the Vikings and need them to win, they lose.
He would still say it though. He just wouldn't see
You
it.
would?
Exactly, but I wouldn't see it, so it wouldn't exist to me.
I don't know if that's how that works, but
I had to
Okay.
see it. It's some type of witchcraft. It's all right.
The Vikings
It
lost.
might actually be witchcraft at this point.
Vikings lost, so that's funny. They also lost by
3.
by 3, which was the spread. And that was the closest game remaining on your schedule when looking at spreads. So
I don't fear the Packers.
you're not going to win another
You
game.
should.
Yes.
You should.
Why?
fear the
Why
Packers.
would we fear the Packers? They just lost Tommy DeVito and now Baker Mayfield. They got blown out by Baker Mayfield. Actually, we lost by like
We're not
2
gonna
points.
we're
3
not gonna
points.
sit here and pretend like Baker Mayfield's been playing
And
bad.
you know,
by
we're
the way.
also not going to sit here and pretend. We'll
We're
get
not
to your
gonna-
guys' final scores later. But remember, we lost by 3 points on the road. It's an okay loss. A loss is a loss, but it's an okay loss, so I'm okay with it.
If
But you're
you're-
fighting-
We didn't
Steelers
get
beat
blown
that
out by
team.
30
Brother.
or
Steelers
28
beat that
or
team on the road.
17.
Surely you clinched the playoffs. Then I'm imagining
We are the 6th
Right.
seed at the moment.
it's clinched, right? It's clinched. You're getting in.
No.
Oh, okay.
You know
Gotcha.
he's
I
lost
don't-
the
I don't know
argument
if I would
when
like
he
to see-
starts attacking our teams.
I don't
Like,
I don't
he's lost.
know if I would like to make the playoffs with this team.
That is
Not the
that's
season.
that does sound scary, but Nick Mullins in a playoff
Daniel
game.
Jones. Won't
I did
be
not
able to
lose any
defend
argument.
you
I'm
home
just
this
going
time.
at I'm just stating the facts of week 15.
That's when you
It's-
start
and it's
losing
just-
arguments.
it's just-
you
it's
It's
start-
okay. It's all right. It's all right. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, honestly,
You know, stats
None
are
of us-
solid.
none of us here are winners today. It's just a
Absolutely
pity
not.
party.
It really is. Very crystal.
Let's just do it. Let's just Gil move us on. Let's just do it.
No, we were talking about pity parties. We were talking about sucking, and well, that leads us right into your game, Dillon. Mr. Brisky is
So
how do I
bad.
put it?
So
Shit.
bad. He's so bad. He's the highest.
You know
he's the highest paid backup in the league. Yeah, I said this weeks ago. Trubisky is an auto L every time. I don't know what happened to 2018 Chicago Bears Mitch Trubisky, but that dude's gone. He's a shell of his former self. He just chucks it deep. It's not even close to people. He misses wide open receivers. He just sends airmails, turns the ball over often. I can't say enough how bad Mitch Trubisky is. I had to watch Mason Rudolph go in the game. And as things stand here today, Mason Rudolph has now jumped Mitch on the depth chart. They made that official today. Mason is the number 2 quarterback in Pittsburgh for the rest of the season. And honestly, I got no problem with Mason being a backup. He's a guy that he's the 4th most veteran player on the Steelers roster right now, only behind T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward, and one more guy. Deontay. No, not Deontay either. He's like he's top 3 or top 4. It's actually kind of scary. But he's been in the system for a while, and I'd honestly like to see Mason stick around as the backup and just get rid of Mitch at this point. But oh man, in a must-win game, it's all gone to shit. All of it. You name something about this team, it's gone to shit. Whether it's the coaching, the offensive line played so putrid. 3 of the starters were the bottom 3 people out of all of the linemen that played in Week 15. They were like literally 146th, 145th, and 144th. Our right guard had a pass block grade of 0. No one was getting blocked. Everyone
Maybe
was
a rush for Broderick Jones.
no. Everyone was a
Right.
revolving door. The running game could literally do nothing. Our center sucks. Mason Cole.
Do you want
Michigan-
Josh Dobbs back?
Yeah, of course I do.
I mean, he might do good the last 3 games, get you to the playoffs.
Listen,
then-
as long as he doesn't know anybody on the team, we're good. Problem is he might know some people on the team. But anyway, Yeah, just a pitiful performance. One of the saddest things I watched with my own eyes. We were up 13-0, and I was like, this is all right. We might pull this off and just make it another week. And then literally it just combusted from there. Mike Tomlin punting on a 56-yard field goal for a 20-yard punt as well, net, or 20 or 30-yard punt instead of taking a 56-yard field goal. Mind-boggling. Just decision after decision from this team. Mind-boggling. They did release some footage of Kenny practicing today, and he looked pretty good, so that got me excited. Hopefully he can play. That would be the most Mason Rudolph thing ever, is for Mason Rudolph to finally get the opportunity to start, and then Kenny just comes back and plays anyways. That's Mason Rudolph, poor guy to a T. Mason Rudolph has seen himself live long enough to be the villain and then watch himself become the hero, potentially, on Christmas. Rudolph might save Christmas. So where do we go from here? I'd like to sit here and talk about all the different playoff scenarios because that's great,
Good
right?
analogy.
Thanks. If the Steelers win out, they still have like a 78% chance to make the playoffs. And that's hilarious because I'm sitting here after watching the team lose 3 straight games, 2 of them to 2-10 teams. Like, I'm sitting here talking about the playoffs. I'm delusional.
Clip that.
I just don't know what to think. I just don't know what to think. I don't know what this team needs to draft. I don't know, what fixes this team. I mean, I know what we need to draft. We need to draft center, we need to draft corners, and we need to draft safeties and offensive linemen. I don't think we need to draft a quarterback, and neither does Terry Bradshaw. Terry Bradshaw says Kenny is the guy. I think a lot will be seen once Kenny comes back. It's going to be 2 to 3 games, but again, since Matt Canada's been fired, he looked great, and then he got hurt. So, smallest of sample sizes ever. I still don't know what to think about all that. Offensive line has continued to be garbage. Again, we have not gotten enough of Kenny Pickett post Matt Canada to know if Kenny Pickett's good or not. I think he's the best quarterback on the roster. I think he's better than a lot of quarterbacks in the league. Just looking at
Name a few.
backups out there.
Kenny Pickett better than backups or
Just quarterback.
starters?
I mean,
Like who?
both. Desmond Ridder.
Okay.
Easton Stick.
I don't think
Jake
that
Browning.
counts. I don't think that counts
They're
either.
starting.
better
They're
than Jake
starting.
Browning?
They're starting. He beat Jake Browning straight up in a game. He beat
But-
him.
They're backups at heart.
He's won a
Um,
game after that, right?
Name a real starter. 'Cause I
Desmond
don't
Ridder. I
disagree.
just did.
Okay.
Desmond Ridder.
He's gotten
Derek
benched.
Carr.
He's gotten benched
I also
twice.
think
Derek Carr,
he's
okay,
better than Derek
maybe.
Carr. I do. I think Derek Carr's trash.
I can
I think
maybe get behind you.
I think he can be better than a guy like Kyler Murray. I don't think Kyler Murray can throw the ball. He can run, but I don't think he can throw.
It's so funny. watching the dude run.
I think he's better than a guy like Sam Howell. Like Sam Howell, fantastic arm, much more arm talent, but as far as playing the quarterback position and not turning the ball over, I think Kenny Pickett's better than a guy like that. I mean, just off the top of the list. I mean, they're all guys you have a conversation with. Like, depending on the system they're in, the team that they're on, all that. They're guys that are in that conversation. I don't know, man. It's a tough question. Like, put all 32 starting QBs in the 49ers offense. Which one looks the best? Oh, we got a little cameo right there. Anyways, you've taken me off topic. I would love for Kenny to come back and just light it up for 3 weeks, the final 3 weeks of the season. Probably won't happen. Some of this crap that's come out on media this week and all the George Pickens nonsense, just non-issues. If the team is winning, none of that crap gets talked about. But now he's like a diva attitude problem, and it's just driving me nuts. And that's what happens when your team continuously loses.
Just by safety.
He did. He also got pass interference on that play. He got hit before the ball arrived, and it stopped his jump because he got hit from behind and all of his momentum was stopped. But that's a story for another day. And the safety coming into the ball is going to have leverage on that every single time. So,
That's like his thing, though.
yeah, but he got pass interference on anyways. It's just tough. It's just tough. I don't know what to do at all with this situation. Yeah, when losing comes into organization, Gill know a lot about this. Just stories and shit just boils to the surface, and that's where we're at right now. So unless the team starts to win,
winning
this
solves everything.
blah, 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 is just going to never end. So
Thanks when your starting receiver gives no effort on blocking too.
That too.
yeah, it does, especially when blocking's like one of the things he's really good at. But when you lose, the buy-in doesn't happen, and when Mitch Trubisky's your starting QB throwing airmail balls, the buy-in doesn't happen either. And there's no like leader in that wide receiver room either. Like the oldest guy's Allen Robinson, who's only been there for a year, so it's like George Pickens was under the wing of Deontay Johnson, who is a diva in his own right. So there's no real veteran leadership in that room because everyone's young, and you have a young quarterback that doesn't, just calm that room down either. And it's
I get like an Antonio Brown in there to
right. That really spice things up. I could not care less if he's in that locker room, but he's putting up 300-yard games. So did we just get a Drew disconnect? Is that what happened? I don't know. But
we're in the same thing. I mean,
either way, it could have been just a momentary thing.
Oh,
yep,
there he is.
There he is. So
You're muted.
I don't know what to say, man. I don't. I feel.
Leave me be.
I'm just letting you know.
He's got things going on. I feel defeated.
Okay.
And yet I was sitting here for like 45 minutes looking at the playoff predictor, and it's a rough time. It's a rough time. I haven't seen
I'd
seen a
probably
win
turn
in
that
a
off
month.
and look at the mock draft simulator instead.
But that's
Probably
just as
do a better
worse
use of your
because
time.
they're sitting there at like the 20th pick again, and it's like not going to get
Purgatory.
anybody good, not going to get
Purgatory.
anybody terrible.
Well, when you lose out, you might get, maybe 15.
It's not high enough. Not high enough.
Tomlin's got to keep his winning season streak alive.
He will. Steelers will finish 9-8 or something stupid. They'll win against the Bengals. They'll win against the Seahawks. Lose against the Ravens. You finish 9-8. I don't know. At this point, I think I'd like to see the losing record just to get that out of the way.
To get Tomlin out of there?
I don't know. I haven't decided. Because, we could.
Dude, you gotta wrap it up here, buddy.
We could hire Brandon. You asked me a question. That's on you. We could hire, Robert Saleh or Brandon Staley or, any number of terrible head coaches, or we could keep the guy that's been here for 18 years but hasn't done all that. Gill will get to that part. So that's it. Move on from me. I'm defeated. I feel defeated.
It's not your fault.
I'm sad.
It's not
Yeah,
your
the
fault.
Steelers stink.
Next
Shut
game.
up. Shut up.
Next game, the
You know
Kings of the North.
The real ones.
The real
That's
ones.
fakes. They haven't
back.
dethroned us yet. We're still the Kings.
They're going to dethrone
You've
you.
never been the king.
What?
Yeah,
We just won it last year.
I feel,
That doesn't make you the king.
Yes, it does.
Your father, Aaron Rodgers, left, and then
He was not our
the king
father.
was up for
actually,
taking. The
statistically
Lions,
speaking.
the Lions are taking over.
We'll save that for another episode.
hold on, no. Anyways, the Lions.
Yeah, go ahead,
back,
look it up, yo.
I am. Record the Vikings. 17-11-1. I don't know. That says daddy to me.
17, 11, and 1.
He's
Oof.
17-11-1 against the Vikings. That's a winning record, pal.
That's fine. We had some down years, yeah, but on our good years.
A lot of them. A lot of down
Anyways, we are not talking about
Christian
the Vikings.
Ponder and
We're not
Josh
talking about
Freeman were a
We're
terrible
not talking about the
time.
Vikings. We're not talking about the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. We're talking about the new Kings of the North, the Detroit Lions, handing
They're
it
good.
to the Denver Broncos. They're back. There was a little bit of a slump there. That's going to happen. Happens in the NFL. You can't win them all. but they did win this week.
Yeah,
For
they're
you
good.
Lions. We'll see you next week. We'll see. I know this week and in 2 weeks.
Cam, who are you going to take in the pick'ems? Vikings or the Lions?
I'm taking the Vikings. I've taken them all year.
All right, that's up one for everybody else. All right, just
Actually,
checking.
no. I did take KC at one time.
Emotional hedge.
No, I
No.
took them
5
against
tutties,
San
by the
Fran.
way. 5 tutties for Jared Goff. 100 yards for Jahmyr Gibbs. 112 for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Sam Laporta looks like the runner-up for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
No, he doesn't. He looks third place.
It's so crazy looking at a competent offense do crazy things. It's
another world, man. Like, you watch the Lions, and then you watch our teams, it's like, this isn't even the same sport.
Like, why ain't Deontay Johnson doing that? I'm sorry. We're not going backwards. I'm sorry.
Even Jameson Williams is starting to pick it up, which is one thing I noted a couple weeks ago, was he was starting to click. Things were starting to... He's trending up. Just the Lions... This was a big win for them, because this was a win against the Denver Broncos team that they were hot at a moment. They needed a win. It's a winning record team. The Lions it seemed like they needed to prove that they could beat a team with a winning record, and they did when they beat them. Broncos are now 7-7. And Lions are not going to be the number 1 seed. Probably not the number 2. But the number 3 seed hosting a playoff game, that's what's in sights for the Detroit Lions right now. And
Does that
is
mean they
just
would
phenomenal.
host the Vikings right now?
Potentially, yes.
So,
I'd be
you're going to
okay
that
with
game, Cam, right?
No, I'm not. I'm not taking another step inside Ford Field. Screw that place.
Wow,
Bur-
fake fan.
Relocate.
Anyways,
fan.
great
They
win for the
relocate.
Lions.
Guys, I hate Ford Field. I actually love it, but Vikings never win there.
Fraud.
Yeah, good win for the Lions. Sorry, jeez, golly. That's they're good. They're moving on to bigger and better things. 10-4, good team. Yeah, they're
It's
good.
funny how teams with similar records or same records can have just completely different outlooks on the season.
What
Like,
have
I
you
saw
done
a
for me
meme.
lately?
I saw a meme. It was Lions being 10-4, and it was the happy guy, and then Eagles being 10-4, and it was sad, depressed guy.
On the bus, right?
Yeah.
Like that bus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they got on the bus. One's looking at the sun out the window, the other one's looking at the mountain on the other side. So, yeah, good for the Lions. Recency bias. They won, other teams lost, so they get a up, other teams get a down. And next week we'll do the same thing and say, "Oh, this team lost, this team won, so they must be better or they must be worse." And
I think the
That's-
Lions have been
I
good
don't
all
know.
year, though. To be fair,
Yeah. They've had a few
They have.
moments.
yeah, you don't
But
win
they've
10 games on accident.
No. And they're-
whoa, now,
Unless you're the Steelers, then you win 11.
yes, sir, yes, sir.
So, sandwiched between the 2 Vikings games for the Lions is a game that I think is going to be intriguing. On 30th of December, a night game, primetime game against the Cowboys in Jerry World. I think we're going to get a real... I don't expect the
Yes.
Lions to win that game.
Lions are getting
I think
slaughtered.
I don't think so.
I promise
think
you,
so.
Lions are going to get slaughtered. And it's the only
don't
time
think
I'm
so.
ever going to have to root for the Cowboys.
I'm gonna
20
fade
point
Cam
win.
on every pick'em, and it's gonna be a
Cam,
good
I don't know
record.
if you just little preview. We got destroyed by James Cook. The Lions have 2 running backs that are better, just as good or better combined.
Yeah, but that was away. You're at Jerry World, and you were sick. Remember?
This is true. The
guys had a
being
sickness?
at
I would
Jerry
love to
World
use that excuse.
thing.
Being at
I
Jerry
would love
World-
to use that excuse, but we are not a run defense team. The Lions like to run the ball.
It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good
That's all I
test
have
to
to say.
see
Yeah,
It's
really
gonna be a
how
shootout.
far...
It's gonna
Super
be a
Bowl shootout.
shootout. It's gonna be a
It's-
high scoring. Take
It's
the
going to be
over.
like the Seahawks game. It's going to be like the Seahawks game. That's kind of my prediction. It's going to be like that Cowboys-Seahawks game. Cowboys will edge out. They'll get the win because the Cowboys, they win, at AT&T Stadium. They're going to. But we're going to see really how far this Lions team can go. And that's going to determine seeding too, possibly. Because if the Lions lose that game, I mean, maybe they fall. Maybe it's 2, 3. I don't think they fall. I mean, they can't
They
fall very
can't
far
fall to
because
4.
no, they can't because of the NFC South. But say somehow they manage to win that game, maybe they jump up to 2. Who knows?
They
I
would
don't
jump
know.
up to 2.
That's
Over the Eagles?
Right now, Dallas is the 2 seed.
all
so.
3 of them.
Yeah, but if we lose and the Eagles don't, the Eagles would be 2.
I don't know. That's too complicated.
Yeah, I'm not going to mess with the playoff machine right now. I have
Doesn't
it up
matter
just in
because the
case, but
49ers are winning it all.
yeah,
Unfortunately, yeah.
probably,
Yeah, probably.
which is tragic. But
Yeah,
Our
Lions
next
look
game.
good. But like with that, every team they have their flaws. So
there's no perfect
Nope.
team in the NFL.
it all depends what version shows up. At the end when things matter.
Mm-hmm.
There is no perfect team in the NFL, even though
Except for the
this
Niners.
owner does like to think that it is possible to get the perfect team, and there you should make no mistakes. If you hire the right people, why aren't you nailing every draft pick? Well, when you have that mindset, your tickets are only going to sell for 45 cents. You do get the win. You get your second win of the year in the Carolina Panthers. The Falcons suck. It's an NFC South game, so that should have been close anyways, division opponents. But good for the Panthers, really, to get that win. I think this is more of an indictment on the Falcons. When your tickets are going for 45
RIP.
cents,
Desmond Ritter.
your
That's
team's
all.
bad. The Browns, when they were 0-16, they were filling out that stadium in Cleveland. You
I
can't
wish
get
I could go
people
to an NFL game for 45 cents.
right.
The Panthers
Even
might
if the
relocate.
team, my team did suck, I'd go.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
For 45 cents, you're paying more for parking.
Yeah.
I gladly would.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'd pay.
That's ridiculous. Team should be sold. Team might even need to be relocated. Don't know where they'd go, but the city of Charlotte and the Carolinas, they need a football team. I feel like, and even a few years ago, they were packing the house with Cam Newton and everything when that team was good. Clearly, they're not happy, though. And based on the amount of people that were at the game, we're probably already spending too much time talking about it because people clearly do not care about what happened there. So,
No, again, this was more of an indictment on how bad the Falcons and Desmond Ritter are, which he just got benched because of,
He
performance.
stinks and he's
what
boring.
do Falcons do? Do Falcons trade for Fields?
They might.
Yeah,
They should have traded for Lamar Jackson. All honesty. All honesty.
No one was ever
Man.
actually going to get that deal done. I don't think.
Arthur Smith is gonna trade for Fields and then
Bench
use
him,
Heineke instead.
move him to running back. Yeah.
Only handed off to Cordell Patterson.
Dude, he'd probably be
He's
a
gonna
real
bring
good running
Heineke
back.
in like Taysom Hill.
Fields would not be a good running back.
Probably not.
I feel like
Speaking
he would
of
break
Fields,
in half.
Got a good build.
Well, he
Speaking of
fumbles the
Fields-
ball like every 2 seconds.
He could prepare himself a little bit differently, obviously.
Speaking of Fields,
There you
he
go, Gill.
almost got the dub. It took 3 tries, but he almost got the dub.
Bro,
Should've
was that
gotten that
who
dub.
was that?
Darnell
Darnell
Mooney.
Mooney.
Darnell Mooney.
Bro, sold.
Sold.
Hate that guy.
But
And what's his face earlier in the game? Freaking
The guy from
Oh,
Green
the
Bay,
tight end.
Tunyon.
Yeah.
Sold on Fields.
Someone
Yeah,
said
so-
it was a bad throw.
Sad.
no,
I
No,
died
I think that
laughing.
was. I think that was
that had to be a
fake.
troll. That had to
I
be a troll.
saw
Yeah.
I saw a tweet that said, I don't know if this was sent in the group chat or not. I think it was. It said Pat Fryermuth's not dropping that next year. Justin, don't worry about
I
it.
sent that
So,
to you.
Yeah, I thought Drew
that
sent
made me
that.
feel good. That made me feel good.
Cam, what you're referring to, I think, was an NFC North account that I've seen.
Yeah,
he said
it's hilarious.
Fields missed the throw. You gotta hit a better ball. Gotta hit him in the hands or something like that, and just complete troll because it literally lands in his hands wide open.
I mean, you see
That
the same
same
guy
account
that was
said-
saying Justin Herbert should be playing safety and making tackles. Is it that type of guy?
No,
Listen.
he is the guy that says Kirk Cousins was coming off he started his 21-day window.
So he's like Sam Block, basically, of the NFC North.
Yes.
Except for
All right.
worse.
It's not just Vikings.
All right.
But in this game, The
yeah, I
Bears
needed
were
the
up
Bears to
17-7.
win.
They were up 17-7. Flacco, 3 picks. The offense couldn't move. And then that fourth quarter comes around. They get the field goal early. The Amari Cooper touchdown. Like, that
That's
was
crazy
a
throw.
beautiful throw from Flacco. How he did that, still showing he's got the arm strength at 38 years old, a month off the couch. What
Bro,
him
that
and the
just means
Browns are
he's
doing?
fresh, man. Joe Flacco is just fresh. He needed that rest.
Yeah,
Can't
maybe,
believe Joe
maybe.
Flacco is terrorizing me in 2023. That's just crazy.
With the Browns this time, not the Ravens.
Browns all
yeah.
teams.
The minute
Who do
I
you hate
tuned into
more?
the,
I'm genuinely curious.
it's a loaded question because the Ravens are the biggest rival because there's a respect thing there, and both teams are generally good. The Bengals are like little brother, and the Browns. I hate the Browns.
But you hate the
So,
Browns more.
I hope that answers your question.
It does. All right, go ahead.
I do want to give props to not just Joe Flacco, but this entire Browns team for doing what they're doing right now. They're riddled with injuries. Like, the amount of injuries that they've had, they're on their fourth quarterback. They lost their best offensive player, Nick Chubb.
They're on
All
their
their
fourth
offensive
quarterback by choice.
Partially by choice, yes. The
Yeah.
amount of offensive line injuries, the defensive injuries that they have. I
Fun
think
fact
they're-
for you:
How fun is
75%
it?
of their cap is on IR, I believe.
I think that's
I
accurate.
think we brought that up a couple weeks ago, but yes,
It's only getting worse too. And they're still
it's a
9
very
and
high
5.
number.
No, they're 10. They're
They
9
are
and 5.
9-5, and they should
Not-
be 8-6.
9 and 5. I think Kevin Stefanski needs more noise for Coach of the Year
Yes.
with what he's doing with this. Yes,
Bro, I hate
this is
that dude.
I know you do, but with what he's doing with this roster, they're in the playoffs right now. They're going to make the playoffs with Joe Flacco. With
Bro, their defense is
Their
so
defense-
good.
their defense is also completely injured. They're
It's
riddled
not.
with injuries.
They
all
got
over the
Miles
team.
Garrett. They got Miles Garrett. They're still number one.
Their offensive line is
You want to talk about
riddled with
a
injuries.
defense riddled with injuries? I could tell you a defense that's riddled with injuries.
It's
So
impressive what he's doing and what this
So if
Browns
Garrett
team
is that
doing.
good, Dylan, does that make him Defensive Player of the Year over Watt?
I don't think Dillon's been calling for Watt to be Defensive Player of the Year.
He
Not
leads
this
the
year.
league in sacks, though. So that
does.
is a plus.
I did want to give some love to Kevin Stefanski and the Browns there because I think it is impressive.
I don't think the defensive player of the year should be either Miles Garrett or TJ Watt, if you really wanted to know.
They're on point.
Interesting.
That's kind of where
Records
I'll tell you
mean
who the favorite
things.
is.
Records mean things.
I don't want
Who's
to
the
say
favorite
that
right
name.
now? I
Hello.
actually don't know who the favorite is. I'm willing to bet it's probably Miles Garrett or one of those edge rushers.
I'm pretty sure
Oh.
Warner's up there. Oh,
Hello.
Blue.
Something like that.
Not
Is
fan.
Blue the favorite? Is that what that was all about?
The favorite to win Defense Player of the Year?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lion King reference, though,
Right on.
for the Lion King himself. Michael Parsons.
He shouldn't. He should be fourth, but that's besides the point.
dang. Uh-oh.
Anyways,
all right, we
is there
might as
anything
well
else
just,
left on this
keep
game?
going.
Anything left on this game?
Just admit you don't know nothing, man.
Man, stats are weird. I don't know. But anyways.
Before we move on, anything else anyone wants to add on Bears, Browns?
On the Bears, from a Bears fan, he is happy with this game strictly to get rid of Eberflus. So take that as you will.
That makes sense.
Halfway through this game, I kept seeing tweets like, does this mean they're going to keep Eberflus the way they're playing if they keep playing like this?
Is that how the guy said it, too?
People just forget
Is it
years
Chad
of
saying it?
terribleness.
I don't remember who was saying it. So, staying in the NFC North, another NFC North team lost, and the Green Bay Packers. They hosted Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Baker is the first quarterback in Lambeau Field history to have a perfect game. Perfect passer rating, 158.3 passer rating. Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre has never done it. No quarterback has ever done it at Lambeau Field. Baker becomes the first one.
That's
And
crazy.
You might
Was
want to
no
fact
quarter-
check that.
I
I
thought
think
it was
Aaron.
just away
I-
quarterback.
Yeah, I think Aaron did it a couple times.
I think they kept saying that not even Aaron Rodgers did it.
That's even more impressive. I guess I assumed it was away quarterbacks.
I feel like that would make more sense. But regardless, he played fantastic nonetheless. That's for sure. 34-20, Tampa Bay kind of takes a hold of the race that they're going through. And I just wanted to point out, because we had mentioned Baker a little bit earlier and in a bad tone. Baker's been playing fantastic this year for the crew that he has around him. He's taken over that team. He probably is the Tampa Bay quarterback for the foreseeable future. He's really come into his own. And again, I think Baker got a bad rap in Cleveland. Like, I think he was a good quarterback for them. Led him to a playoff victory, obviously. We all know how that happened. And yeah, they kind of shoved him out of town
Could have been another playoff
for
victory, but whatever.
yeah, they shoved him out of town for a criminal, a fugitive. And he goes on to Tampa.
Don't want to get canceled.
He goes down to Tampa Bay, and he's just balling. He's just balling, and good for him. I've never really hated Baker, in all honesty. Yeah, Tampa Bay beats up on the Packers in Lambeau, and Jordan Love didn't have like a terrible game. He threw for almost 300 yards and 2 tutties, but just lost the shootout against Tampa Bay. So
the big thing Packers fans are saying right now is defense and how just Swiss cheese defense it is right now. It is like the Vikings. This is going to be a high scoring game, and it's going to be an ugly high scoring game. What you can say. Because it's going to be 2 bad offenses that are somehow going to manage to put up a lot of points. That's kind of how I see that game going.
What,
Could definitely be
the
wrong.
Vikings and the Packers?
Yeah. 2 bad
Well,
offenses.
are you on crack?
Not yet.
that
Bad offense. We just scored 24.
Scored 3 the week before.
That's fine.
Bingo. Bingo.
With new quarterback, different quarterbacks.
Yeah, on the defense that let the Steelers go for 400
And
yards
our
in the first time
defense
in
isn't
56 games, bro.
Still isn't bad. It's
No, it just blew
we
a
let
lead.
up 27. Yeah,
It just blew a
one
lead. That's all. Anyways,
I know how to ruffle some feathers around here, and I'm kind of glad I
anyways,
did.
Yeah,
you are the
it's just
feather
an
ruffler.
uneducated take. It's an uneducated take. It's
I don't
okay.
think so.
I think it's completely uneducated.
It sounded educated to me, Gil.
Thank you, Drew. See, he's got my back.
Because you're a casual
Me.
when it comes to the Vikings.
Anyways, Baker, phenomenal.
He's
Packers
leaning forward
defense-
now. He's coming. For
I'll kill myself for the Cowboys, bro. I ain't no casual.
Grogu's serious now. Grogu's in serious.
If I needed to be crucified for the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl, I'd be up there already.
You get to watch the Cowboys forever in the afterlife, so it's worth
True.
it. I'd say it's worth it.
Happy birthday, Jesus.
Merry Christmas.
That's why the roof opens so God can watch the Cowboys play. That's the story.
Yeah.
So
Is that right?
I'll be right next to him. Go boys.
All right. Are we good to move on to another pity party here?
Yeah, I
Speaking
think
of,
so.
Speaking of bad offenses, here we go. Take
So,
the floor.
I don't know how to start.
He's pouring the liquor. He's
So-
pouring the liquor.
It doesn't seem right to talk about the Jets without a little.
Is that FCC approved?
Why can't I
Sure.
drink some bourbon? Nope.
Sure.
I don't see an issue with that.
Sure.
Where do you start? I don't know.
Probably
Because
at the
the
score.
Jets didn't even start. 30-0. How do you not even show up in a game that you had to win? They come off of a 30-6 win. They constantly do this, where they come off of good wins, and it's like, you know what? That was our Super Bowl. And then they have a huge Super Bowl hangover for a team that doesn't have a winning record. and then they just lay an actual egg on the scoreboard. And you knew early it was going to be ugly when the Dolphins kind of had their way on that first drive. The offense gets the ball back. Zach Wilson fumbles after getting obliterated because the offensive line doesn't know how to block anybody. He fumbles it. Dolphins get it. They score. And then from there, you knew it was just going to be an ugly day because the Jets don't know how to bounce back. Once something like that happens, it's game over. Yes, Dillon.
I have a quick question. Won't take too
Go for
long.
it. No,
Did
that's fine.
Zach get benched or get hurt? I'm just looking at the box score. I'm curious.
He got hurt. He had a concussion.
Okay. All right. I'd
was
also
sacked-
like to add Zach Wilson to that list of quarterbacks Kenny Pickett is better than. All right, continue.
Yeah. He got sacked 4 times in the first half before he went to the locker room, which was first reported as a wrist. Then it was
Oh,
reported
yeah,
as
that's
a head.
right. That's right. It
And-
was like 18 different things.
Yeah, it was 18 different injuries, and then he was going to the X-ray, get an X-ray, and then they ruled him out with a concussion. I don't know. Doesn't make sense. Nothing's easy with the Jets. Like, nothing is just fucking simple. Pardon my language.
Explicit.
Dang.
You gotta
Nothing
mark
is...
this episode as explicit now.
My bad.
It's all right.
Nothing is ever easy. Nothing is ever simple. And you would think, okay, the Dolphins are missing pieces. They were missing offensive linemen, they were missing defensive backs, and they were missing Tyreek Hill. So you think you would shift more coverage to Jalen Waddle. They didn't. They let Jalen Waddle cook DJ Reed, and DJ Reed's been a solid corner for us. He was having a bad game. Why doesn't Sauce travel? Why don't they move him around? And then, on the flip side, Garrett Wilson's watching down the sideline where he's watching the Dolphins offense move Jalen Waddle around and utilize him correctly, and he's sitting there wondering why they can't do that for him. The offense, every coach, every level, like I've defended the Jets defense all season, and they deserve their defense. But the offense was bad. The defense was bad. Coaching was bad. Adjustments not there. And at the end of the day, this falls on Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas. The offensive line has been riddled with injuries. I get it. But your worst 2 offensive linemen today, or not today, on Sunday, were offensive linemen that were starters week 1. Your left guard that you paid high money to in Lincoln Tomlinson has been horrendous. And then Mekhi Becton, the first draft pick Joe Douglas made as general manager of the Jets, has been unplayable. I don't know what he's doing out there. And heading into this year, he doesn't know either. Heading into this year, everybody knew the Jets needed an offensive lineman. And the second they got jumped by the Steelers, it was, all right, we're not doing anything now. It's plan A, and then there is no plan B. They're not spending
Does
the
that
$50
dude play?
Who?
Will McDonald?
Sparingly. He's used similar to how the Jets used Jermaine Johnson last year. They drafted him as a 2024 and beyond, which
Felt like
never
not a
made sense
need.
to me.
Felt like not a need.
It wasn't a need.
Yeah.
It wasn't, which is why I didn't like the pick at the time. But it's plan A or plan B. They are not going to fork up the $50 for plan B. They're just going to say, you know what, screw this. We're just going to let it roll. We're fine. They don't have that.
That was good.
Oh, that was good. Yeah.
That's what they do
How-
constantly.
How many days ago did you think of that?
Actually, just now.
That's hilarious.
I got a couple other ones I've been thinking of for a little while, but not
Oh,
quite.
Already
man.
made it come out.
Wow.
But 30-0. I'd understand if the Jets had lost this game. I get it. Dolphins are the better team. The Jets are starting. They were playing Trevor Siemian. But the fact that you didn't get off the bus, how do you do that in a division game? And that's why this falls on Robert Saleh as well. More 14-point losses than he does total wins. He's got 17 losses by 14 or more points. He's got 16 total wins as head coach of the Jets. He's only got 4 wins himself by more than 14, one this year. So he's constantly getting embarrassed. And then when you go to those AFC East games, your division rivals, the point differential is Negative 11.6 point differential in those games. So every time you play an AFC East team, chances are you're going to lose by at least 10. And then in those losses, it's negative 12.5 in those losses. So he's got 7 losses by double digits against AFC East opponents. 0-5, I got notes. 0-5 against the Patriots, and they have not had Tom Brady since Robert Saleh has been here. 0-4 against Tua and the Dolphins. So 3-14 overall in AFC East games. That is unacceptable. He's 3 years into this. He beat the Bills twice and the Dolphins once.
Who's the Dolphins quarterback?
The Bills this year, Bills last year, and then Skylar Thompson was the quarterback. It started with Teddy Bridgewater, and then Skylar Thompson came in. Tua was concussed, and the Jets won like 40-17.
Those sound like fireable offenses to me. I don't know, though.
Hey, that's what I'm getting at.
Oh,
Overall, Robert
I feel like
Saleh,
Staley was fired for very similar.
16-32 is Robert Saleh's record as a head coach. So 33% of games he's winning. He's only winning a third of his games in his third year.
Can I have Salah when you fire him?
I think he goes to Green Bay. He's got a good relationship there with LaFleur. Joe Douglas,
Saleh can be our linebackers coach for a year.
25-55. Joe Douglas is
Jesus Christ.
as general manager. Saleh is 5-15 in his last 20 games, and they end the season bad too. He's 2-9 all time in December.
Ugh.
So you get to a point like they were 4-3. They were 4-3 this year. They were 7-3 last year, 7-4, something like that. And the Jets lost their last 6. So it will have been 6. They lost their last 6 games last year. They haven't won. Oh, sorry. They beat the Texans, which, again, was a good win to beat the Texans. But that's the only impressive thing about this team. They have that Texans win. It's like, you know what? We're good. You have the Aaron Rodgers hype. Like, oh, he might come back, which, by the way, I said multiple times, I never bought in. I never thought he was going to come back this year. But that was another reason why this game felt like a must-win. Because if you wanted any chance for Aaron Rodgers to come back this year, they were going to have to win to give him a chance towards the playoffs. They had to win this game to keep their playoff hopes alive, and they decided not to show up. I don't know what they're scheming. I don't know what they're game planning throughout the week. The offensive game plan is trash. I don't get it at all. Why are you not feeding Garrett Wilson? Why are you not scheming up ways to get the run game going? They're loading up the box because they don't trust your pass game. I get it. Why aren't you using more play action, more motion?
I feel like it's written in the sand. To be honest, if you don't mind me interrupting, it's your offensive coordinator is the guy who was the head coach of the Denver Broncos with a notoriously bad offense, and the only reason he's in New York right now is because Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback that makes his system work, and now he's no longer able to captain that system. So you have the Denver offense from last year, some talent
For the most part.
and a quarterback that's not playing well.
They're constantly out-schemed, out-prepared, and when you have players after the game, like Alan Lazard said, quote, that we were out-efforted, something like that. And multiple players agreed. You cannot be having that. If you're the head coach, you cannot be having your players saying that we were out-efforted. As of today, December 19th, I am officially out on Robert Saleh as the head coach of the New York Jets and Joe Douglas as the general manager of the New York Jets. I'm done with these two. They're going to come back next year because for some reason people feel like they should. I don't know what they have done to warrant them coming back. They have not done nearly enough, in my opinion, to warrant them coming back. Cool, you got Aaron Rodgers. You had a good draft in 2022, and you traded Jamal Adams for a pretty good haul. But your draft picks constantly suck, and you're not getting depth later on. Your free agent signings are not good. And when you traded for Aaron Rodgers, you said we were done. That's all. When you trade for Aaron Rodgers, you should be all in, not done. And I think what this season has taught me, and it should show the Jets, but definitely it showed me, is that this team is a lot further from getting to a Super Bowl than I had thought. And that's on me for having those expectations. I should have known better. But when you trade for Aaron Rodgers, you kind of feel that's what the expectations should be. So now you take a step back. You see what this team is without Aaron Rodgers, and you're saying, wow, the offensive line's bad. The weapons, the play calling, outside of Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, not that great. Defense is good. Special teams is good. Coaching overall, I don't know. Because it seems like it's getting to a point where you're starting to lose that locker room a little bit. When you have guys saying, like, you're out-efforted. Garrett Wilson, every game, bless his heart, because you can tell he works his ass off, but you can tell it's wearing on him. The losing, the not being involved. And you can see on Aaron Rodgers' face every time CBS cut to him. His face was, wow, I made a mistake being here. So whenever somebody says the Jets should get rid of Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas, everyone comes back and says, give him one more year with Aaron, because you probably would have won some games this year with Aaron. Sure. And at one point you guys had said, run it back with these two. And if Aaron Rodgers is the reason why you guys are winning, and now Saleh and Douglas, get rid of those guys after Aaron. What I'm coming to the realization of is, one, Joe Douglas' contract is up next year. He signed a 6-year deal 5 years ago to be the head coach of the New York Jets. General managers don't typically run or do good things when they're on lame duck seasons. Also, if you don't trust Saleh and Douglas to build the Jets after Rodgers is gone, why should you trust them to build it with Rodgers? And they clearly, in 2023, didn't do a good enough job because the offensive line's still in shambles. The backup quarterback situation was in shambles. Almost every decision that they have made has been the wrong one. They've not had much success in just about anything. So, I think Saleh and Joe Douglas need to go. They've done nothing. 3 years together. Their decisions that they've made has been drafting Zach Wilson, which that alone gets most coaches and general managers fired when you draft a bust at quarterback. They were able to redeem themselves by convincing the owner we can bring in Aaron Rodgers, and they did. But they can't build a team. The offensive line is atrocious, and that's what Joe Douglas was brought in to do, in large part, was he promised Sam Darnold and his family, hey, we're going to build this around you, we're going to protect you, we're going to build a good offensive line. He promised Darnold and his family. That's how long this has been, by the way. Sam Darnold was going into his second year, if I remember correctly, when Joe Douglas was hired, which is eons ago in the NFL. And then they drafted Zach Wilson after that didn't work out. And they told Zach Wilson, we are going to lift you. You are not going to have to worry about lifting us. That's what Robert Saleh said on his call when they drafted him. We are going to lift you. For all of Zach Wilson's faults, the Jets have not done nearly enough to lift him. So then they bring in Aaron Rodgers, and he immediately gets hurt. And then you see, oh, this is garbage. 12 out of 14 games this year, this offense has scored 1 or 0 offensive touchdowns. Only 2 games they have scored 2 or more touchdowns in 2023 of the NFL. That might be acceptable in 1923, but in 2023, that is unacceptable. That is fireable by itself. The staff that Saleh's built on offense, yeah, Nathaniel Hackett's the one that generates headlines, but they brought in Todd Downing, who was a failure in Tennessee. They brought in Keith Carter, who was a failure in Tennessee and the offensive line. And Keith Carter, he was guys like Taylor Lewan and other Titans players had come out and said, like, the way he practices is way too hard on the bodies. A lot of Titans players on the offensive line were constantly injured with Keith Carter. And, oh, go figure, the entire Jets offensive line's been injured. So you would think, maybe a little bit of correlation there. The team just doesn't seem to perform well in the must-win games. Like I said earlier, it's like they win one game, and it's like, you know what? We don't need to show up. It's like after they win, like most good teams, it's like, all right, we won, but where can we get better? Right? That's what most good teams do. When the Jets win, it's like, all right, we won. Why do we need to improve on anything? I got notes. Oh, Aaron,
They're still going?
Aaron
You
Rodgers.
got more?
When they got Aaron Rodgers, they brought him
Don't
in.
use up your off-season
I said it.
materials.
I'm not.
I said it
I'm not.
was going to be an hour, guys. I did say this.
Well, yeah, it's going to be an hour.
He
What-
said
always gonna
he
be an
said he
hour.
was locked in. He said he
I
was
was-
locked in.
An hour
brought-
was guaranteed.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's almost like they brought in Aaron Rodgers thinking he was going to be Jesus Christ and resurrect his team. He is not. I'm sorry to break it to you, but he is not Jesus
Breaking
Christ himself.
news.
I know, breaking. You need to build a team around him. You need to build a team around any quarterback, and they have constantly failed to do so. They are more than just an Aaron Rodgers away. That's a huge thing. If they were losing close game, if they were losing games close, if they gave you some semblance of hope, I say run it back next year with the game. But because they're getting blown out, because they're getting embarrassed, because they're looking like they don't even want to be there, they're showing they are more than Aaron Rodgers away. So why should I trust Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh to be the ones to lead this team in 2024? One last thing. I already mentioned if you wouldn't trust this regime for after Rodgers, why should you trust him before? And if the Jets run it back, okay, can they make the playoffs next year? Maybe. Maybe. I have my doubts that they're going to. It's going to be tight next year.
AFC's
Can they make
loaded.
it to the Super Bowl? Can they make it to the Super Bowl with this regime? No. I'm going to tell you right now they can't. Because Saleh can't win big games. They're trying to go off of the Bucks and Rams script, where they go all in on the quarterback, all in on the Super Bowl. The difference is those teams had elite offensive lines and good, proven head coaches. Bruce Arians was already a proven good head coach. Sean McVay was already a good, proven head coach. The Jets aren't there.
Was he?
So I am McVay. By the time Stafford got there, absolutely.
Oh, by the time Stafford got there, gotcha.
Absolutely. When they went all in on the Super Bowl, yeah, he was a good head coach. He had 3 10-win seasons.
He was an offensive mastermind at the time.
I know, I was thinking like when he got hired, because he went in.
He got hired at like
Fine.
33 years old or something.
With Joe Douglas
know.
not being able to build up an offensive line, and Saleh not being able to win the big games, and with Douglas going into this year on his contract year, you have to make a decision. It seems like with his contract himself, and do you re-up Douglas? Because again, general managers, head coaches don't go into seasons as lame ducks. They don't go in on that 1 year. Typically, it's typical for players, coaches, and general managers. No. So, are you going to let Joe Douglas be the lame duck? Are you going to let him go? Or are you going to give him an extension and pretty much pay him to be your general manager for a decade? I say you get rid of Douglas, you get rid of Saleh, and if Aaron really wants to be here for the next 2 years, I have my doubts. I'm going to say that now. I have my doubts. But that's the plan. Woody Johnson, get him in a room, figure it out, and bring in somebody that can actually get you to where you want to go. Because this regime is not doing it. They have done nothing to date to make me feel that they can get this done.
Good job. Good job, Gil. That was a lot.
That's it.
I feel for you. I do. Longest playoff drought in Major League Sports. There's a whole bunch of teams that have been to the playoffs more recently than the Jets. Pretty sure it's everybody. Yeah, that was a funny tweet.
They've got all sorts of excuses, and excuses are like assholes. Everyone has one, and they're all shit.
They should relocate the team out of New York. The lights are too bright. Give the Giants the keys to the city. Yeah, I'm sorry you got to go through this, Gil. I'm sure your off-season Jets episodes are gonna be real nice.
Yeah, they're going to be real fun,
nice.
especially when they run it back because they think they have to give everybody a chance. Because Aaron Rodgers was injured, we have to give everybody a chance. We have to see what it's like with Aaron Rodgers.
All right.
I got a lot of.
Yeah.
I got a lot of my
He's
chest.
got notes.
I got a lot of my chest there.
Yeah.
and
What
it's
the
heck's
funny, I still
going
have
on?
more.
There's an alarm going on.
Where are we at?
Let's roll it.
Yeah.
Let's roll it, Gil.
Let's
You know
stay in
we
New
all.
York. Let's stay in New York.
Let's do it. Let's hand the keys over to the Giants, who are just as fraudulent and also 5-9, losing to the Saints. The Saints keeping a race in their NFC South race, winning 24-6. That's my second team. Good for them for finally showing out here. And yeah, beating the Giants and the DeVito, who I'll be honest, I didn't watch any of this game, so I don't know what happened. I just know Saints won 24-6. And looking at the box score, Tyrod Taylor threw 4 passes in this one, so that's interesting.
I think
and
DeVito got hurt.
Derek Carr threw for 3 tutties, so good for him.
I don't know why I picked the Giants to win.
Weird.
In the pick'ems, that was a mistake.
Good for Jimmy Graham. Feels like 2010.
Yeah, good for him. It was kind of funny when the Saints players sacked DeVito and they did the gabagool type. I don't know what the heck to call that, but they threw that one out, throwing that in his face.
I can promise you that.
I know that. But I think how's the family? Anyways, Saints are still frauds.
I think it could be called Gabagool, Gil. Don't listen to that.
It's not.
Don't listen
Is
to that
it?
guy.
Is it?
I think
Could it be
gabagool.
called
I'm pretty sure gabagool.
Could be.
That's like a
Gabagool's
meal.
thing,
Hey,
but
gabagool's a meal.
people,
Yeah,
It's a meal.
they
where's
asked
the
Tommy DeVito.
freaking Gabagool.
They asked DeVito,
what?
like, what's this called? They asked him, like, what's this called? What do you call it? And he's like, I don't know. It's just say, hey. Saints are still frauds. They just got a good win against a bad Giants team.
Didn't DeVito get hurt for a little bit too?
Yeah, he was hurt there.
So we just said.
We did.
He got hurt. They took him out because the independent
Neurologist.
concussion watcher, took him out because he. It was funny listening to the game. I don't remember who was broadcasting the game, but they were talking about was he just flopping a little bit to make it look worse so he would get the flag? And whether he was or whether he wasn't, either way, it got him taken out. So if he was, that's a bad look because you got yourself taken out of the game.
Not great.
He smacked the ground pretty good with his. It wasn't the back of the head; it was face mask into the ground. So
He smacked it way too hard because now he's charging $20,000 for his appearance.
He did still show up at that place still for free today.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
I think you have to after that. I think
DeVito, Tommy
to.
DeVito. We're talking Tommy DeVito. Let's move on. There was another concussed quarterback in Houston. He didn't play, but his replacement, Case Keenum, coming off the bench, getting a clutch win.
Bro, they should have lost that game. The Titans had it. They had it in OT.
Will Levis died in that one.
Will Levis did die. I saw a TikTok of sad moments for Titans fans, and it's true. They've had some very sad years. They're just as pitiful as a franchise as some other franchise that we will not name at this time. But I was watching this game because, again, I was really hoping for the Titans to win, and of course they lost. It's my fault again. But
Dillon.
I was like 0 for 7.
Dude, wanted to win a loss.
I had a terrible week. The Bears couldn't hold off the Browns. The Titans couldn't beat the Texans. The Cowboys couldn't win. Vikings couldn't win. No one wanted to help the Steelers this week. Even the Steelers didn't want to help the Steelers. Anyway, the Texans had punted the ball because Case Keenum took like 2 sacks in a row, and the Titans returned it to like the 40. Like they were going to be 2 steps away from the field goal range, but some dude held a guy that wasn't even like near the play. It was like back at the line of scrimmage, and so they went 10 yards back from where he caught the punt, which is a crazy. I mean, that's like a 30-yard penalty if you think about it. But and then they couldn't drive, they couldn't score. They had that game, and they blew it in typical Titans fashion. Probably, they lost. They were tanking. Who knows? I don't know. But looking for a better draft pick, I guess, to build that team around Will Levis. What was Will Levis's box score in this one? Let's take a look.
17 for 26,
Mid.
199, and a interception.
It was not good. 199 yards and
he had some good
interception.
passes to D-Hop. But D-Hop's been his guy all
Derrick Henry washed, though, like absolutely. He had 16 carries for 9 yards. That's 0.6.
He was the first player in 75 years to have 20 or more touches and 10 yards.
That's almost as crazy as remember when Reggie Bush ended his season with negative yards for the Lions.
No, I don't remember this,
Yes,
but
I think he had one rushing attempt.
Yeah,
That's
like
tough.
the final game of the year, he had like trying to get positive, and he got.
Titans should have traded him before the season when that was being discussed as a topic and got a return on their investment and just handed the keys to Spears, but they did not do that. They held on to their aging.
ACL. Come on.
Yeah, they held on to their guy, their aging running back, and now his value has depreciated into the earth, and is close to nothing now. So
Let's talk about what we're all waiting for here. Let's get it over with.
The ass whooping?
I don't think that's the next game.
That's
not even.
I want it to be. I'm tired of waiting.
We
an
could
hour and 10 minutes.
All right.
Let's just fire through the next three real quick. Chiefs beat the Patriots by 10. Expected that to happen. Chiefs move on. 49ers crushed the Cardinals. 45 points on their head.
Chris McCaffrey MVP.
He should be the MVP. Brock Purdy should not be the MVP. McCaffrey.
I thought of something funny to say.
I
thought of something funny to say.
Okay.
Brock Purdy. Okay, he's cooking, right? He is, unfortunately. The problem is the device he's using to cook with is the Easy Bake Oven. So it's just
that's facts. That's facts. Also, the reporter. See, when you're a winning team, this is the type of questions that get asked in press conferences. They said, Brock, with how well you're playing, do you feel you could have a negative media impact because you're wearing your hat backwards? That was an actual.
Colin Cowherd brought that up.
That was an actual question. That was an actual question that was asked to Brock Purdy in a post-game conference, and that's what happens when you win. You get questions like that asked in your team press conference. Just crazy.
That was immediately after Cowherd called him out and then said, well, Jalen Hurts was his half forward and he's a professional quarterback.
Yeah. And then Colin, after that, talked about it and said, this is the type of journalism we're getting. I don't know. One
more thing on that.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Pete Carroll wore his hat backward for the press conference, and I saw a tweet saying Colin Cowherd is going to try so hard to get him fired this year for wearing his hat backwards.
Hilarious. But yeah, Cardinals continue the tank job. 49ers are just so good. Next one, Rams beat the Commanders at home, 28-20. Rams move up to 7-7, I believe, into the playoff race. In the NFC, they now hold the 7th seed. What a gridlock 7-7 that is over there. Be interesting to see who makes out of that one.
One thing on that. On the playoffs and Rams, there's a real chance that the Rams play the Lions. So Stafford would be going back home to Detroit in the playoffs.
Yeah.
In the wild
Let's talk about Jacoby Brissett, though. Absolute dog. Went 8 for 10, 124 yards and 2 tutties. Best backup quarterback in the league. Should be starting somewhere, given
he might start. He might. Who's going to start against it?
Did they bench Howell or was Howell hurt? What was what happened to him?
I thought Howell was benched in that game. Was he benched? I thought he was benched.
I don't know, but Washington's 4-10, so they
being benched
might.
On Sunday, Sam Howell remains.
Yeah, he had like 45% completion percentage. Anyway, Rams win 28-10. Good for them. And now to the game that Drew's been just brewing over for at least an hour.
There's about 100 different things making noise, so you guys talk first, and then I will talk after.
All right, yeah. So the overview here: Bills demolishing the Cowboys in Buffalo, 31-10. And even though Dallas had the better record, Buffalo was favored in this game. Watching this, of course, again, my fault. I needed the Bills to lose, and they didn't. So just blame me. I was 0 for 8 in this week, in this matchup. James Cook just went crazy. Josh Allen is
he did
good.
Not. Josh Allen was he said this himself.
He got a participation award.
Yep.
Yeah. 7 for 15, 94 yards and a tutty. I don't understand. But James Cook went 25 attempts, 179 yards and a tutty. averaged 7 yards a carry, just demolished that that Dallas defense that
And that was
supposedly has a defensive
immediately,
player
too.
of the year on
That was
it.
immediate. Like, that first drive, the Bills came out and just kicked some freaking ass.
Yeah, with his MVP on the line, Dakota Prescott does not show up, going for 134 and an interception. Yeah, really overall
Ugly.
disappointing, ugly one for the Cowboys. But I will say, I will give them this. Going into Buffalo this late in the year, that's a hostile environment, but
Really is.
one that you would hope the Cowboys would have been able to play in, because they're going to get some of those in the playoffs should they not win the division. And you hope they play better.
You don't got to go anywhere as cold as Buffalo.
This
This
is
is
probably true. So
Okay, well, you lost 42-13 in sunny California. So
Okay.
what's the difference?
I mean,
If it's cold or
You
warm?
lost 40-3 against the Cowboys.
the super team of the 49ers, I think, is
Yeah,
being
I
referenced,
think-
right?
yeah. I think that's kind of an exception. Like, everybody just about loses terribly
It's the
to them. And
exception to the rule, not the rule.
Yep.
Go ahead, Drew. Take it away. How do you feel on this fine Tuesday evening?
I feel better now that the Eagles lost, but
We'll get to that.
still not great because it was just a miserable performance by every single person involved. There was not a single bright spot of the game other than Brandon Aubrey still hasn't missed a field goal, so I guess there's one,
Book the over.
but he only got to kick one. So
Yeah, the over did not hit,
the-
actually. So
by the way, we still
Oh,
need
yeah.
to bet
do
for
it
that.
this
We
week,
gotta get a parlay up this week.
the McCarthy outcoached, players got outplayed. Just literally, the Bills did everything better.
welcome
And
to our world.
the main problem that made it so frustrating, I turned this game off about halfway through the third quarter. I flipped it to red
I've done
zone and started doing other stuff. What made it so frustrating was just boneheaded mistakes that turned a close game into a non-close game, a game that was too far out of reach. Through that, there's a game like this every single year where I turn the game off. It wasn't the Niners game. I watched that one all the way through. I don't know if it was because it was early in the season, or maybe I was just in such disbelief as what was happening. But this game was just so frustrating because you have the Josh Allen flop. He is a flopper. He's a master flopper.
I hate him.
And that's actually crazy that he can be a quarterback that is known for trucking people, and then also a guy that takes a forearm to the chest and is on the ground.
Bills
so
are dirty, and he's a flopper. I hate him.
he's a master flopper, which is unfortunate because I did like Josh Allen. I don't like that he's a flopper. So you have that that was on a third down. They were going to have to kick a field goal. That penalty happens. They score a touchdown. We have a Sam Williams actually makes a fantastic play to be able to block a punt, and then just
Trucks
throws
the
himself
guy.
a mile in the air and lands on the punter and completely misses the ball somehow. He literally had
He had
so
a perfect.
the center's looking up, and Sam Williams is lined up on the center's left. And he's looking up, and then he goes down to snap it, and he doesn't relook. Sam Williams switches sides, and the center comes up and blocks air because he's no longer there. So Sam Williams basically has a free pass to the punter, and he did not touch the ball. That turned a punt into a touchdown.
Crazy.
There was another thing too. Stephon Diggs fumble that gets recovered by the Cowboys is not reviewed. Flag isn't thrown. They run a play. We don't get the ball. Just boneheaded mistakes, penalties, everything, man. Just stuff you can't be doing if you want to win a game like that. The play calling was miserable on both sides of the ball. The defense, man, we were in nickel almost the whole game as we're getting gashed by James Cook for like Dillon said earlier, 7 yards a carry. And just absolutely no reaction to the game that was going on. We went in there with like an expectation of, okay, Josh Allen's going to be throwing the ball all over the place, so that's, what we're going to have to defend against. And we just kept getting gashed and gashed and gashed and just did nothing about it. So that's unfortunate. That's not what you want to see. On the other side of the ball, offensive line just collapsed. Play calling just collapsed. Everyone just collapsed. We put the best. Tony Pollard was actually running pretty well. And then after the game, I saw a chart of his rushes, and it's all halfback dive. Just like 10 of them bad boys. So, like, maybe a little bit of outside work, see if you can get one to bounce, like, just a couple times. But just I don't know what happened. And this is why it's so frustrating, is because we went from the 49ers butt kicking, and then after that, it was like a flip was switched, and a switch was flipped, and I said it backwards. And
Okay.
the offense started looking better, and then you get into another tough game against another tough opponent, and you start seeing the same issues that happened in the first game, and it's like, well, now all my hopes that anything has changed are back to zero. So, got two good running teams coming up, so I guess you have a chance to test if you can adapt to a running team, a running offense. But just overall, a very disappointing game, especially at a time where technically you're first in the division. We still are. Screw you, Eagles. But really, if we would have won that game, we'd be sitting pretty. So I had something else to say. I forget. Unfortunately, Dak lost his MVP. He didn't play well. But like I said before, not a single person played well. And there was zero help from McCarthy. It was like we were looking at aliens playing across the field from us. Like, it just it baffles me that
You're
the
sick.
whole thing going into. Thank you, Cam. The
You're
whole
really
thing going
sick.
into the game is that the safeties play deep, and we were going to have to work with that. And there was a lot of blitzing from the Bills, and there should have been and was space to operate in the middle of the field, which should have been prime Jake Ferguson territory, prime whoever, CD in the slot, whoever you want to throw out there in the middle. And we just said, nah, we're not going to do that. We're going to do the complete opposite. We're going to go, deep or there was just, it was so bad. And literally last week I was on here and talking about how Mike McCarthy was doing good, and he changed this and that in the third, and then you see a game like this, and you just fingers crossed that it was just one of those games, and you'll get over it. But I don't know. It's late in the season to have those games. That this is the time where it's supposed to start clicking. So to go backwards at this point in time would be terrible. Especially when you're going to have to, like, everyone right now is just looking at the 49ers and being like, that's who we have to prepare for. That's the final boss. And so
Bro,
you
final
go and
boss
get
is a win in, bro. Final
you
boss is
go and
not
get your
losing.
butt kicked by some side character who's not even in the playoffs right now. That's not. It's insane that the Bills are not currently in the playoffs as it stands. By the way, they're still a good team, but it's just the hope is so, like, it's so small, because if you could win this game, if you could win against the Dolphins, if you can win against the Lions, you're like, yes, we might be able to do it. Things might be turning around, and then you get whooped almost exactly like you got whooped. I will say this. Let's rewind. Just, we did good against the run against the Niners, actually, surprisingly. McCaffrey had like 40 something yards, pressure.
42.
Brock Purdy was thrown to wide open Brandon Ayuk all game. That was
Yes,
the problem.
he's done that all season.
Yeah.
That's literally every single play that he makes. Unfortunately, there wasn't any wide open. There wasn't any wide open receivers to throw to against the Bills for some reason. So we lost. I'm sad. In my darkest hour, I had mentioned to Dillon and then to the chat later that we may all be stuck in purgatory, just a different form. So
It's either purgatory or hell.
My purgatory is always going to be making the playoffs and not being good enough to do anything with it. Where Gill, you're kind of on the other side.
I'm in hell. I'm in hell.
But at the end of the day, we both don't win anything that matters. So
Nobody does. Nobody does. We're all washed.
I will also say another thing. Every single team in the league except for one is going to call this season a disappointment. So
it's true.
It's just we lose perspective on how hard it is to actually win
One
games,
of 32.
win the Super Bowl. We don't need to like
value ourselves based on Super Bowl, aspirations.
It gets to a point though. It's just we want to have the best team
What's the
in
point?
we want to have the best team in the group.
No, I want to have
That's
the
what
best
it kinda
team in
comes
the
down to.
world. No, I want to have the best
that's
team
what
in
you
the world.
want,
That's
but
your
the next best
perspective.
thing. That's the
No.
next best thing.
If you're not the best in the world, what's the matter?
I mean,
none
it's
of it
easy
matters.
for you guys.
That's the
It's easy
answer.
for you guys to say. I mean, to be honest, yeah, Super Bowl is fun, but I'm sure making the playoffs is fun as well.
That's
but
the different levels of that's the different levels of purgatory we have. That's the different levels of purgatory. The Cowboys and the Steelers just want to make it back to the top. The Vikings just want to be at the top one time. The Jets haven't been at the top in so long.
The Jets just want to be there. They just want to be.
But at the end of the day, we all chose the wrong team for this particular moment in time. 25 years ago, we all chose the wrong team for 2023. Maybe though, one of us has chosen the right team for like the year 2045. We just don't know yet. We haven't gotten there. So
I hope so, because like I told you guys the other day, I wish I could go back in time and beat the living crap out of the third. I wish I could beat the crap out of the 10-year-old Caleb that decided, you know what, let's go Jazz. But this is Drew's time. Sorry, Drew.
I'm pretty much done. Very sad. Very, very sad. Like I said, the main problem is that the hope for just any chance of competing with the 49ers it's diminished. It is gone
any
down
given
to almost
Sunday.
zero.
Any given
Sunday.
Sunday.
That's what they say. That's what they
In
say.
the regular season.
That's what they say.
I mean, the 49ers do have a couple losses.
They do.
Yeah, one to the Vikings.
Because the MVP lost his stud playmaker Avengers team, and all of a sudden wasn't.
He lost
very
to
good,
Kirk Cousins, and whoever has lost to Kirk Cousins has never won a Super Bowl. That's a stat.
Okay, they can still make it though, and if they make it, that means the Cowboys aren't there. So that's unfortunate.
That is how that would work. Yes.
Oh man, if I gotta watch the Ravens win another Super Bowl, dude, I'm gonna lose it.
That's what's
the
gonna
Bills,
happen,
man. I told you, Bills. Red and blue makes purple.
That's fine. I would be fine.
I'm not.
With that. I'm sorry.
By the way, Bills. Just in case there's any Bills fans watching this, I know you're not, but just in case, thank you for 2 Super Bowls. I appreciate it. I'll also send thanks on behalf of the Giants.
You appreciate it.
And the
what
Redskins.
are you talking about?
So thank you.
You watch those Super Bowls?
I do appreciate
Why
it.
is that your?
From
Why is
space?
that your go-to?
Bro, that's the worst.
No one in the
argument.
history of the world has ever watched the Vikings win a Super Bowl. No one ever born. No one exists that has seen the Vikings win a Super Bowl. So I don't want to hear nothing.
It is. That's the worst argument of all time. It truly is.
It's not.
It's just
Bills
not terrible.
gave the NFC East 4 straight Super Bowls. Thank you. I appreciate it. We got 2 of them. Thank you, Bills. Have fun with your regular season win.
So, how confident do you feel about the Dolphins this week? Because they do I mean, I'm kind of thinking like from a 49ers perspective, they do kind of run similar offenses. So, how do you feel like heading into this week against the
Well, it's
Dolphins?
interesting because you look at the Dolphins and you feel like they should be a juggernaut as well with Tyreek and Waddle and Achan and Mostert, all very
Mostert's got
dangerous
19 tutties.
weapons.
He's got 9. He's
But
got.
He's got 20.
They've
Yes.
not been on the
They're-
field at the same time very much this season.
The
That's their problem.
Dolphins' offensive line is very vulnerable. I feel like this is, like I said before, it's a good test of the run defense.
These next two
how do we
games
look?
are.
How do we look when we're facing Achan and Mostert if they're both playing? This dude needs to shut up, man. Crying.
Is that a baby?
No, it's kinda. Anyways.
What?
So this will be, like I said, a good test. Eventually, you got to start passing some tests, though. So
This is what they say.
So we'll see. Tyreek is going to be crazy, I imagine. So it's all
he
going to be.
plays.
Can you disrupt?
Plays.
Can
I
you
think
disrupt Tua before Tyreek just runs past your entire defense?
Dude,
think-
I hate football, man. I don't like it.
I am so tired that I love this sport.
I can't
got 2
wait
games
for
left.
draft season. We were so excited during draft season, excited
Oh,
and
I'm
hopeful
done.
for the future.
That's one thing I didn't say. I'm officially done being excited. I'm done.
That's such a lie.
Just all of it.
I'm done
Just-
until something
Just never-
actually good
Yeah, wait
happens.
till
For
July
excitement
hits.
ever again.
Talk to me again
Wait
in
till
July
April
and
hits.
August. Yeah, July and
Wait till-
August.
Wait till April. You see
Hold
the
me.
future of your franchise walk across that
you let me
stage,
know
and
when
then
I
you tell
send-
me you're not excited.
When I send you
won't.
that 2024 Week 1 Pick'em spreadsheet, tell me you're not excited. That's what I want to hear from you.
So hold me to this, but until the Jets actually do something in the regular season for me to be excited about, I'm done being excited about the offseason.
We'll clip
There's
that.
2 games left.
We'll clip that.
Jags are trash. Trevor Lawrence is Daniel Jones.
Yeah, that was not a good game.
That's not a good game. Baltimore, not bad.
They're good. The Ravens are good.
They're fun to watch. Like Lamar, the one throw that keeps getting
I don't know
highlighted
how the Steelers beat that team. I still don't understand it.
because their receivers couldn't catch
They
passes.
sold. They sold so hard, but I don't know how. Why did they sell so much? I don't know. I don't
They're afraid of
understand.
getting punched in the face. Honestly,
Yeah, probably.
TJ
They
did
got
it one
punched in the
time, and they were
face.
they were
That was-
terrible.
I didn't
TJ
even-
Yeah, might as
punching
well just
people in the
catch it.
face. KZ just killing people. I don't. Yeah, whatever. They're good though.
We didn't talk about
23-7.
that enough. But anyways,
No, we definitely should have.
Next
We had
time.
a great talk about it earlier.
I got told to shut up when I was talking too long about Steelers. So that's
next time,
Told you to
Jags are
shut up.
trash. Jags are bad. Jags
That's
are not
bad.
good.
Ravens good. Last game, and that was
Let me
last
say
night.
something. Let me say something here.
Floor is
Jamal
yours.
Adams is got to be the funniest story in the NFL on how you can be so good and then you get so self-centered that you just have a terrible downfall. He was a healthy scratch, and your backup comes in and gets 2 interceptions, one being the game-sealing interception,
He was that bad.
to beat a team that is 10-3.
Have you heard of Antonio Brown?
You say he was out of bounds, Gill?
I saw. Yeah, there's a clip where his
Uh-oh.
foot was. You could see
He was
like
in
what-
bounds.
He was.
Nah, he was in bounds.
It don't matter.
Anyway, it don't
Jalen
matter.
Hurts sucks, bro. He's terrible. He threw away the MVP too. Dude cannot
Yeah, he's
throw the
pretty
ball.
bad.
Jalen
and
Hurts
the
is
offensive
Baker
play
Mayfield.
calling. The offensive
Baker
play calling
Mayfield.
is so bad for the Eagles as well. It's so predictable. It is terrible. It's constantly run, screen, forwards. No creativity. They fired the wrong coordinator. I think the Eagles did. But the big thing I want to take away is one, huge dub for me in fantasy over Dillon. Thank you.
We did not
Jack
need to
Smith
bring
and
that
Big
up. We did not need to
Shout
talk
out
about
Jason.
that.
I did.
Shout out Jason. Oh, I
Uh,
beat Drew too in a consolation bracket, so
But shout out Drew
definitely a
Lock.
little Jover.
Shout out to Drew
Dude, I
Lock.
had,
beat you
that,
in the
I
other
had that
league,
week
though, so-
wrapped up. I had it, and then I wake up, and all of a sudden, Drew Lock throws game-winning touchdown to JSN, and I'm like, just worst
That's what I needed.
football, worst football month ever, dude. It just doesn't stop. It doesn't stop.
It was fantastic. But I was happy for Drew Lock.
You know what? I want to start seeing some tweets being compared to Kenny Pickett when quarterbacks have games like this. Where's the Jalen Hurts 443 yards, 2 interception tweets? How many more games of multiple interceptions has Jalen Hurts had? That's the type of stuff I want to start seeing.
He's
right.
leading the league. He tied for the league
Dylan.
in turnovers, and all of a sudden that's not a big problem like it was
Weird.
last year.
Weird.
Dylan, the hate is out there. There is a Photoshop of his pants missing of him taking a shit on the football field.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it.
Can someone send that to me, please? Did not see that.
Yeah.
All I
Yeah.
saw was an
send it to him now.
animated.
Send it to him now.
All I saw was an animated picture of Jalen Hurts, with a voluptuous.
Yeah, I'm demoting Jalen
Rear
Hurts
end.
from running back. He's now fullback. He's just a fullback. Only good for 1 yard carries. Here you go.
What is this coming through on?
Take a look at that right now on Twitter.
What is this?
Go ahead and take a look at that. It's pretty accurate.
I gotta see this after. I can't see it. Can someone put it in the screen, please?
Oh my
No.
gosh! No,
I will
that's
not put that.
explicit.
That's explicit.
Do some digging on Twitter if you want to see it. It shouldn't be too hard. But yeah, Eagles chokers let Drew Lock drive down 90 plus yards for the game-winning touchdown.
Bro, their name is Big Dookie. It's over. That's the name of the tweet.
I'm gonna guess that's the Eagles fan. There's so many Eagles fans turning on Hurts right now. It's hilarious to see. A lot of people saying that they miss Carson Wentz is even more hilarious.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
I miss
What
Ben
else?
Roethlisberger.
How bad he actually
Is
was.
that the same thing?
I mean, he was an MVP until he got
Yeah,
hurt.
lot of chirping Sunday night after we got our butts kicked. Just to go and lay a stinker against the Seahawks. So not a lot of chirping anymore. Unfortunately, the Eagles still control their own destiny. If they win out, they will win the division, even if the Cowboys also win out. If they lose to the Giants, the Cowboys will win the division, provided we win. I forget how it works. There's weird math, but essentially, Eagles win out, they win the division. That's all they got to worry about, unfortunately. So,
Bad game by the Eagles. Good game for the Seahawks. Good win for them. They needed it. Keeps their playoff hopes alive. And I think that's a wrap on this Christmas
Dylan, what time?
episode. We're at 1:35.
We're
boys.
good. We're good. We hit the
We're good.
under.
We're golden.
We flew.
Nice.
We
We are
flew.
golden.
It was
Thank
for
you, everybody, for
10:15.
watching. Well, that was also when we were supposed to start at 8:30.
Right. I said an hour,
we're
45
good.
minutes on the nose,
We're
and
good.
we were under, so we're good.
We are
Bring
good.
us home, Gil.
Thank you,
we're all
everybody, for
sad.
joining us.
We're all sad.
It is sad, but hopefully everybody has a holly jolly Christmas. Enjoy your holidays. Enjoy, hopefully, some decent football. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. And we'll see when we're back next week. It is a holiday, so we'll see when we're all able to get together and talk. What are we at? Week 16 of the NFL season coming up. Only 3 games left of the regular season. I'm honestly glad that it's about over, but, that's just me.
Dang.
Thank you,
That's
everybody.
tough.
Make sure
That's tough.
Make sure you follow us on TikTok, on Twitter or X. I still call it Twitter. It's X, but I still call it Twitter. And, of course, on YouTube at Party Chat Sports. We'll see if we can get a parlay up this week. We've been slacking a little bit. That's on all of us here at Party Chat Sports. We'll try getting those up for the last 3 weeks of the NFL season. Until then, again, happy holidays, everybody. And see you soon.
Merry Christmas. Go
Sadness.
Cowboys.